Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News, coming to you live on Global TV. I am Mukhtar Kasim. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. We begin from the State House where President Bola Tinubu has appointed Professor Don Baridam as Pro-Chancellor and Professor Chinedu Mom as Vice-Chancellor of the newly established Federal University of Environment and Technology, Koroma Sakpewa Ogoni in River State, along with other governing council members. The appointment announced by presidential spokesperson Bayo Onanuga includes professionals across Nigeria such as Emmanuel Onoja, Hamid Adekunle, Professor Chima Oji, and Abdullahi Lamda to ensure regional balance. The institution, signed into law in February 2025, is scheduled to admit its first students in September, with key administrative roles also filled by experienced academics and administrators. Vice President Kashim Shettima, during bilateral meetings at the United Nations Food System Summit in Ethiopia, has called on top officials from food and agricultural organizations, International Fund Agricultural Development, and World Food Programme to assist in reviving the Lake Chad region and boosting year-round agriculture. He highlighted the region's vast agricultural potential and linked it to national food security and Green Revolution project championed by the Tinubu administration. Food and Agricultural Organization Director General Q Dong-yu commended Nigeria's political will and pledged stronger partnership and technical support to accelerate agricultural transformation in the country. Moving to legislative matters, where the House of Representatives Committee on China-Nigeria Relationship has begun investigating a viral video in which Nigerian miners stranded in the Central African Republic accused the Chinese firm of abandoning them, seizing their passport and subjecting them to abuse. The workers, reportedly stranded in the village of Senye in the Bambari region, said they were misled into accepting exploitative jobs and later left helpless without documentation. Lawmakers say the case raises serious diplomatic and human rights concerns and have vowed to ensure accountability through legislative oversight. Meanwhile, Speaker of the House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas has called on Nigerian youth to shift from mere complaints to concrete action for national development. The Speaker made the call at the official unveiling of the Take Action campaign in Abuja, an initiative of Youth in Parliament Forum themed Awakening a Generation. Our National Assembly correspondent, Anita Patrick, brings us details.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, who was represented by the Chairman of the House Committee on Youth in Parliament, Olami Julowo Alao Akala, stressed the need for young people to live in the present and drive Nigeria's transformation through meaningful participation in politics and policy making. He emphasized the importance of reforming outdated laws, supporting youth-inclusive policies like Not Too Young to Run, and backing the proposed bill for reserved seats for women in parliament.
So painful. I keep telling people that Nigeria of today, if we not take action, nothing is going to happen. Everything is going to remain the way it is. It's going to be garbage in, garbage out. And if we are here and we keep saying that we're over 60% of our population, 70% of our population, and yet there's no change, and the change we want, we cannot articulate it, we cannot put it into proper. So what are we doing? We need to come together, and that's why we need to take action.
Described the Take Action campaign as a strategic grassroots effort to combat youth underrepresentation. He said the movement aims to mentor aspiring youth candidates and mobilize voters ahead of the 2027 general election.
The statistics before us are alarming. Despite comprising over 60% of Nigeria's population, young people remain grossly underrepresented in legislative and governance spaces. Take Action campaign is our answer to that imbalance. It is our organized, strategic, and grassroots-powered response.
Other stakeholders at the event pledged to support the campaign and assured continued collaboration with the Youth in Parliament Forum to enhance grassroots engagement and amplify the voices of young Nigerians nationwide. Anieti Patrick, Global Television News.
In party politics, the interim spokesperson of the African Democratic Congress, ADC, Bolaji Abdullahi, says Peter Obi remains a member of the Labour Party but has joined the ADC-led opposition coalition working towards the 2027 election. Speaking during a television program, Abdullahi revealed that Obi was granted time to conclude his political obligations in the Labour Party before formally crossing over. He noted that the alliance, which Peter Obi joined in early July, is a strategic step to build a stronger alternative political force in Nigeria. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) is strengthening ties with state electoral commissions to improve the credibility of local government elections. The Commission's chairman, Mahmoud Yakub, made this known while receiving the leadership of the Forum of the State Independent Electoral Commissions of Nigeria in Abuja. Anieti Patrick reports.
The newly inaugurated leadership of the Forum of State Independent Electoral Commissions of Nigeria, led by Chairman Maman Eri, was at the INEC headquarters in Abuja to seek collaboration. INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu emphasized the joint responsibility of both bodies in safeguarding electoral integrity at the grassroots. He expressed concern over the poor credibility of local government elections in many states, warning that failing to issue timely election notices violates the Electoral Act.
Some responsibilities for electoral activities are actually exclusively those of INEC. For example, voter registration is exclusive responsibility of INEC, but we are under obligation to make the register of voters available, the current register of voters available to the state electoral commissions. Secondly, we also create and allot voters to polling units, and we make these polling units available to the state electoral commissions.
On his part, the Forum of State Independent Electoral Commission of Nigeria Chairman Maman Eri sought INEC's support in areas such as technical assistance, capacity building, and knowledge sharing.
The recent Supreme Court judgment that annulled River State elections, local government elections, it is so clear that most of the states have their own laws that have been enacted and passed by the House of Assemblies. And the fact remains that most of us have this issue of 90 days notice of elections. And from all indications, one of the Supreme Court judgment hammered on the issue of 360 days. How do we marry these two?
Both parties reaffirmed their commitment to delivering more transparent and credible local elections across the country. Anieti Patrick, Global Television News.
Now away from election matters, the Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, has announced the extension of deadline for submission of entries for the 2024 Nigeria Broadcasting Award. A statement issued by the Secretary, the Nigerian Broadcasting Award Steering Committee, Usman Umar Bello, says entries will now close on August 30, 2025 for the award scheduled to hold in October 2025. He further explained that the extension of the deadline follows numerous reports of technical difficulties experienced in submitting entries to meet the earlier deadline of July 31, 2025. The Nigerian Broadcasting Award serves as a prestigious platform to recognize and celebrate the excellence in the Nigerian broadcasting industry. The awards are in 12 categories across radio and television production and are open exclusively to member stations of BON. The Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, has raised alarm over the poor implementation of anti-corruption and transparency units in government institutions. At an oversight session in the House Committee on Anti-Corruption, the Commission Chairman Aliyu Musa, represented by the Director of System and Study and Review, Olusegun Adigun, made the call for urgent reforms and funding. National Assembly correspondent Anieti Patrick has more.
According to the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission chairman, out of over 400 ministries, departments and agencies, only 26 anti-corruption and transparency units are considered very effective. 58 are rated effective, while 127 are labeled ineffective and 5 are dormant. Most worrying, 92 MDAs are yet to establish the units at all.
We realize that in the compliance rating, we have 6 categories. We have the full compliance, that is MDAs that score 95% and above, and then we have substantial compliance, partial compliance, poor compliance, non-compliance, and non-responsive. But over time, we realize that some MDAs will fall into substantial compliance while the NDA is not effective. So this year going forward, ATU is now a standalone key performance indicator.
House Speaker Honorable Tajin Abbas, represented by Honorable Umar Ajilo, stressed that corruption weakens institutions and hinders national growth.
This public hearings aims to assess the functionalities and effectiveness of the anti-corruption and transparency unit across all areas to identify their challenges and explore viable strategies for addressing the challenge.
Chairman of the committee, Honorable Kayode Akilo, acknowledged the anti-corruption and transparency units framework is cost-effective, but warned that some units have underperformed or become compromised.
While we recognize the challenges posed by the nature of corruption, we must also confront the reality that not all actions taken in the name of anti-corruption have been entirely above board. It is paramount that we investigate and assess whether these units are truly fulfilling their mandate or if they are reverting to the goal achieved in very practices that they were created to eradicate.
The committee says it will intensify efforts to ensure anti-corruption and transparency units are functional across all MDAs as part of broader war against corruption in public service. Anieti Patrick, Global Television News.
Nurses under the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives have begun a 7-day warning strike across federal hospitals, leaving patients unattended and healthcare services disrupted nationwide. The association's president, Morakinyo Rilwan, stated that the industrial action followed the expiration of a 15-day ultimatum over poor pay, unsafe conditions, staff shortages, and unpaid allowances. In Abuja's area councils and across several government hospitals, patients were seen waiting endlessly in corridors and reception areas without nurses in sight. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, and the Ministry of Education have agreed to introduce mandatory drug tests for students in tertiary institutions and revise secondary school curricula to include comprehensive drug education. The decision was announced after a meeting in Abuja between the agency's chairman, Brigadier General Buba Marwa, retired, and Education Minister Dr. Maruf Alausa, who both expressed concerns over the link between drug abuse and rising insecurity. Marwa noted that the NDLEA has arrested over 40,000 suspects, secured more than 8,000 convictions, and seized drugs worth over 1 trillion naira in 2 years, with support from President Bola Tinubu's administration. And now moving to Benue State, where Governor Hyacinth Alia has dissolved the State Executive Council and named former Commissioner of Justice Moses Ataga as his new Chief of Staff. According to a statement by his Chief Press Secretary, Tesu Kula, the decision was made during the 12th meeting of the Council held in Makurdi. The Governor thanked the outgoing commissioners for their service and urged those not reappointed to continue to contribute to the All Progressive Congress and Benue State's development. You are watching the live broadcast of Midday News. When Midday News returns, fuel protests kill 22 in Angola amidst mounting tensions. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports news on the other side of this break. Stay with us. You're welcome back from that break. And now to business news. The House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on Rehabilitation and Operationalization of the Barrow Inland Port has raised serious concerns over the non-functional of the multi-billion naira Barrow Inland Port in Niger State, years after it has been commissioned. The chairman of the committee, Saidu Abdullahi, who expressed the concern on behalf of the House, said the committee was summoned by the committee has summoned the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, and the Managing Director of the National Inland Waterways Authority, Bola Oyababijemi, over the issues. Anita Patrick brings us this report.
Commissioned with much fanfare, the Barrow Inland Port was expected to boost trade, decongest road transport, and improve connectivity across the country. Ad Hoc Committee on Rehabilitation and Operationalization of Barrow Inland Port, chaired by Honorable Saidu Abdullahi, demand answers about the Barrow Inland Port in Niger State, a project initially celebrated as a game changer for Nigeria's inland waterway transportation system.
We're directing all the MDs that will be invited to course appearance once they receive our date, which will explicitly state the date and time of the engagement. Yes, it's actually mandatory because we're taking this assignment very seriously. We'll make ourselves readily available to.
Lawmakers described the situation as unacceptable. They queried that despite the completion of physical infrastructure, the port has not been put to use, citing poor access roads and vandalism as major setbacks.
So my submission, Mr. Chairman and respected colleagues, is that the agency have to appear and the accounting officers have to appear. That shows they respect Parliament. And also, the Minister of Transport is our brother, colleague, who was in the Senate. So we expect better collaboration and understanding.
Representing the National Inland Waterways Authority boss, Abahe Fidelis blamed the delay on infrastructural gaps and security challenges.
So unlocking Barrow Port will demand a federal approach. It will demand ensuring streamlined implementation and efficient operationalization. NIWA as an agency is prepared to guide all of us in this phase, ensuring that the post will boost economic growth and national prosperity.
The committee has given both the ministry and NIWA a 7-day ultimatum to submit documents on the port's construction, funding, and operational status. The lawmakers say they will conduct a follow-up inspection at Barrow Port to verify the claims and ensure accountability. Anita Patrick, Global Television News.
The federal government has attracted over $791.49 million in private sector investment into Nigeria's compressed natural gas CNG ecosystem between May and June 2025, covering infrastructure, logistics, and conversion kits. The presidential CNG initiative also said a total of $980 million mobilized in 12 months, over 100,000 CNG kits deployed, and 1,440 vehicles converted across 20 states, alongside the procurement of 807 CNG buses and over 5,000 tricycles. The federal government has begun work on light rails project in Kano and Kaduna State as part of broader efforts to improve urban mobility and economic activity across northern Nigeria, to be implemented via public-private partnership facilitated by the Ministry of Finance Incorporated. Transportation Minister Saidu Ahmed Alkali said this during a forum in Kaduna State that standard gauge Kaduna-Kano rail project is 53% completed, while the Kano-Maradi line stands at 61%, with ongoing work on the Port Harcourt-Maiduguri corridor also making headways. And now to news making rounds on the international scene. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced that the United Kingdom will formally recognize the state of Palestine in September unless Israel takes various substantive steps, including agreeing a ceasefire in Gaza. In a televised Downing Street address, Starmer said the United Kingdom will recognize a Palestinian state if Israel has not taken steps demanded by the time the United Nations General Assembly is held in September. Some Israelis have shared their views following this announcement. And now moving on, at least 22 people, including a police officer, have died and over 1,200 arrested in Angola following violent protests triggered by a sharp rise in fuel prices, with medics in Luanda overwhelmed by casualties and warning that the real toll may be higher. The unrest, which started as a taxi strike, quickly escalated into widespread looting and vandalism across Luanda, Huambo, Benguela and Huela, prompting a government emergency response and assurances of national stability. Officials blame infiltrators for the escalating violence, while protesters condemn the fuel subsidy cuts that have sharply raised transportation costs in the oil-rich but economically strained country. And now talking sports, Emmanuel Michael and Adesua Osobohim emerged champions on the 42nd CBN Senior Tennis Championship held at the MKO Abiola Stadium in Abuja, thrilling fans with intense performance in the men's and women's singles final. Michael defeated Prosper Okonkwo 7-5, 2-6, 6-3, while Osobohin held past Omotayo Blessing 3-6, 5-1, 6-4 to claim their respective titles. Representing the Central Bank of Nigeria, Deputy Governor Hakama Ali reaffirmed the bank's decade-long commitment to youth development and national sport unity. And still talking sport, and now in football, where Victor Gyökeres could make his debut against Tottenham in Thursday's high-profile pre-season clash in Hong Kong as the Swedish striker continues to rebuild fitness following his move to Arsenal from Sporting Lisbon. Manager Mikel Arteta confirmed Gyökeres has impressed in training and may feature if cleared by the club's medical staff, having joined his new teammates late during the tour in Asia. The prolific forward, who has netted 39 goals last season and chose Arsenal's iconic number 14, is seen as a key piece of the Gunners' title challenge for the upcoming campaign. And now talking basketball, the NBA will stage official 2025-2026 season games in Berlin and London between Memphis Grizzlies and Orlando Magic, with the Berlin clash marking the first ever regular season fixture in Germany. The match is part of a broader push to expand the league's European presence. We'll also see Paris and Manchester hold games in subsequent seasons, with Berlin returning in 2027. NBA Europe chief George says fans' enthusiasm and popularity of the European players like the Magic Warner Brothers returning to their hometown have helped fuel the league's growing presence on the continent. That's it on Global TV Midday News. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using the @GlobalTVNG. I am Mukhtar Kasim, saying a very big thank you for watching. Good afternoon.